All right, welcome back, folks. It is the Lucia Show. Steve Aledort, our loan financial planner, is in the house. You know, you never think so much about how complicated a stupid mortgage can be, but it is, and we're learning more and more with interest rates going up that time is really of the essence.
Yeah, and my job is to do my best to not make it complicated. It's a scary thing for a lot of people because you don't do mortgages every 3 months or every 6 months. It's not like going to Nordstrom's. It's not like getting your hair cut. And there have been so many changes. But the key is at least to open up the door to let, whether it be myself or a very competent mortgage professional that isn't just looking to give you and to quote you a rate, but to find out about your financial scenario and situation. So we talked about if you've got an adjustable, hey, it really is important that you make a phone call to get an idea as to where it's going.
You're going to be paying 6% soon if you have an adjustable.
You've got to just be really aware of that. If you've got credit card debt, depending upon how much credit card debt you have, depending upon what your current rate is on your mortgage, it may make sense to refinance. It may not, but it may make sense to refinance, especially if you're having a hard time making the payments.
How do you get people, though, to not, I mean, you pay off the credit card, you refinance, you're paying off 13, 14, 15% debt with, 4.5 or 5% debt today. How do you get the people to not use that card thereafter?
Oh, but that's the tough point as far as it's going to be their choice on how they manage it. One of the things that I do, when somebody's a little more complicated, we're not just doing a mortgage, but we're paying off debt, we're paying off a line of credit, we're pulling money out to do this and to handle that. What I'll do is I'll give them a roadmap. I'll do a 2, 3, 4-page overview going, okay, here's what you're paying on your mortgage, here's what you're paying on your credit card debt. We combine these together, and here's how much we're going to reduce your monthly outgo. However, you have two options. Instead of taking that money and not being aware of what happens to it, is either put that savings of $500, $600 away, invest it, or make the same payment that you're currently making on your mortgage and your credit card debt because it's something you're used to doing. And if you put that money in the mortgage at 4%, you're going to find that you're going to pay off that credit card debt significantly faster by having it in the mortgage loan. So you eliminate that debt. You've got a little bit higher mortgage payment now that after you're making that extra principal payments, you're reducing your principal balance down even more on the mortgage, where you may end up paying off that mortgage in 15 or 20 years and then set yourself up for potentially being able to do a reverse mortgage. But once you do that, you've got to minimize just going out and being able to go, hey, I'm going to put this on plastic, I'm going to put that on plastic. It's sitting down and making a financial plan and goal every month on how you want to manage your money.
Okay, what about private mortgage insurance? Obviously, if you don't have enough down payment, you got to pay this thing called mortgage insurance.
Correct.
How do you avoid that?
Well, I mean, sometimes you can't avoid that if you've got less than 20% down. I mean, there are certain programs out there where it's called lender paid MI, where the lender will add 1/4, 3/8, 1/2 point to the rate to eliminate the mortgage insurance. It all sounds good, but that's for the life of the loan. In a market where values were staying steady or going downwards, I did a number of those particular loans because didn't know if we were ever going to see that 20% equity in the property. But based on the fact that we are seeing improvements in real estate and equity in the homes and values going up, with mortgage insurance, if you either pay the mortgage balance down to approximately 78% and or value goes up and you pay the mortgage balance down, you have the ability within a 2 to 5 year window to potentially eliminate that mortgage insurance. So there are a lot of people right now.
So you can reapply to get rid of the mortgage
on
insurance?
a conventional loan.
On a conventional loan.
Correct. A lot of times at the beginning, they're going to require you to hold it for at least 2 years. Each MI company is a little bit different. Some of them within the first couple of years will go off of your purchase price or the appraised value of the home when you did the loan. So you would have to have paid down the principal balance. But after a period of time, they'll actually look at appraised value, or if you've done improvements to the home based on now current value versus what you owe. And once you get down to that 78%, you can potentially petition to eliminate that mortgage insurance.
Appraised value. I've seen situations where, you live in a decent neighborhood, most of the people keep their properties up, then there's this one house that doesn't, the person gets behind, they sell their house on a short sale, and it kills the comps in the area.
That doesn't kill the comps. It becomes a comp that is either used with that notation or thrown out based on that situation. Now, the issue that we had when 2007 came around and everything imploded and people were walking away from homes, and that situation was happening on a number of properties, then an appraiser goes out, he's required to give at least 3 or 4 sold comps and a couple of listings. And if all the comps were because of that, then yes, we saw values go down because of that. But in this particular marketplace, if there's a home, that is an anomaly with those kind of things happening. And so there could be 3 or 4 other comparables, similar neighborhood, similar size, all the required things that an appraiser is supposed to look for to find a comparable comp.
But aren't appraisers, not to interrupt, but aren't appraisers fannies on the hook now? I mean, it used to be in the olden days, people would buy appraisals back in the 80s, and we saw that before the Tax Act of 86 or 87, whenever it was, when the whole real estate market imploded, that they got tough on real estate appraisals. And then once again, when we saw the market, balloon back in the mid-2000s, didn't they come down hard on appraisals?
Well, there's a lot more appraisal policing, and it's not just on the appraisals, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have a huge database of millions of appraisals. So an appraiser goes out to a property, appraises a specific property, uses 3 or 4 comps, that goes into the system, and other appraisers have used those comps on other appraisals. And there's probably 10, 15 adjustment lines that an appraiser is required to adjust when comparing one home from the next. And if those adjustments aren't in line with, number one, what standard are required in the industry, and then number 2, what's been used by other appraisers, there's a particular grade then when all of that's put together on an appraisal. And an appraisal grade can be anywhere from 1 to 5. The lower the grade, the better the score. Once that grade goes over 3, that's when there's potential needs for reviews, desk review. So the appraisers are aware that it's just not a matter of the lender looking at it and going, fine. It's going to go through check, double discount check, through all the systems now as far as checking comps, checking value, and making sure it's passable to be purchased by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac if it's a standard loan, and by FHA and VA as well.
Okay, but which brings me to my last question. I apologize for being dumb in this area, but that's why I have you here. Conventional loan versus FHA versus a VA loan. I see the guy from the military on TV all the time, 100% financing.
Yeah.
How do you determine which is the best?
Again, FHA loan is great for somebody with little money down. Now, you can do a conventional loan with little money down. The higher your credit score, the more that we will go towards the conventional loan, because your mortgage insurance will be less. Mortgage insurance on a conventional loan is based on your credit score. But if you've got lower credit scores, you're in the mid 600s, you've had some weird thing happen, or even a medical collection that you thought your insurance company was going to pay, and it drops your score down 100 points. Lower the credit score, lower the down payment, more attractive an FHA loan is. You'll actually get a better combined rate with the rate in the mortgage insurance than you may on a conventional loan with 20% down if you've got a 620 credit score. So that's the job of somebody like me to look and say, okay, what is your best option here? With FHA, if you need cash out, we can go up to 85% versus only 80% on a conventional loan. I just finished a loan for a client where we thought the appraised value was going to come in a lot higher. We were going to pull out about 70 or 80 grand. Appraisal came in 70 grand less than we anticipated. On the conventional loan, he was only able to get about 15 grand. We flipped him to an FHA. His combined rate was no worse than the conventional loan, and we were able to pull out over 40 grand to make what he needed to do work. VA loan, 100% financing. You can do cash out at 100%. So if you've got VA eligibility, not only a great way to purchase, but might be a great way to refinance. If you've got a mortgage, equity line, credit cards that you want to get rid of, and a lot of times the VA loan is going to be lower in interest rate than a conventional loan.
How many years did you have to spend in the military to get that?
I think it's 4. You just have to have the certificate of eligibility and the honorable discharge.
Steve Aledort, loanfinancialplanner.com. Check him out online or call him 888-563-1070. Be right back.